This video is just to briefly show you how to create a map from scratch. This is especially helpful if you want to have a map with just one layer that's really clear. If you need that for your map, you have to create individual maps with just one layer so that when it zooms into different maps on Story Map, it won't be able to change the settings. So if you are looking for that, the best thing to do is write down the name of the layers that you have already found, so it's not so hard to look for it. And then you're going to go to Map here. And I'm always in Map View Classic. If it asks you if you want to go to a new map viewer, it looks like this. This is not the template I'm familiar with, and the videos won't be in this format. So if you want the same format I'm using, you're using Map Viewer Classic. Okay? And then immediately you want to save your map. Remember, if you don't save, it doesn't keep it on file for you. So I'm going to do this map specifically only for iPark, Parkdale, population density. I'm looking at population density in this map. I want a map just about population density. Save. Okay. Now, if you want to add any layers, we're going to go right to here. I'm going to search for layers. I'm always going to add. I'm going to search from ArcGIS Online. Remember, if you're searching from anything else here, it won't find it. It has to be ArcGIS Online. And then we're putting Toronto wards, 2018. I need that as my first layer so I have a sense of the different boundaries, okay? And then I'm also going to do Toronto population density. Now, I've already looked at this ahead of time, so I know that these are not the ones I'm interested in. I actually scrolled down for quite a while. I was very picky, and I was looking for something. This one was okay, but it gives me by ward, and I'm interested in actually comparing. Remember my question, if you saw my earlier videos, was why are breaking and enterings so much more, there's so many more occurrences down here in South Parkdale than where I lived as a kid, which is up here in Babby Point, Lambton Point, Bloor West area. So this one here, if I use it, you'll see I add it to the map. So that's how you do it. You just click on it, you add it to the map. You'll see that it gives me a sense of how it compares to the rest of Toronto, but it won't let me see individually as a neighborhood. So this can be problematic if you're trying to show population density is higher in Thorncliffe versus Sunnybrook or Flemington Park, because they're kind of clumped into the same area sometimes. So I don't want this for purposes of my analysis. Instead, I'm looking for population density layers. So this is kind of more by neighborhood. It's from 2017. Okay. And I'm like, okay, that looks like it might be helpful. And you can see the difference already of how this is much more thorough in letting me see differences across a smaller area. Once I have my map, you'll notice I no longer can see the boundaries, right? Uh-oh, the red lines are gone. No problem. What we have to do is go back to this is our legend. So I know the darker it is, the higher the population density, the lighter the color, the less population density there is. In terms of my layers, so each layer is a piece of information on the map. Now my city ward boundaries are disappeared, have disappeared. So I need to do these 3 dots, use the transparency, and I can make it more opaque. That means that this one here needs to be more transparent. Whoa. Now I still want to be able to see the different colors, but I want to also see the lines. What about right there? Let's see. Okay, that's pretty good, right? We still see the lines, but I can also still see the colors. And remember, in your story map, you're going to be zooming in because that's how the story map works. So even though it might look really light from far away, if you zoom into what you actually want to analyze, you'll see it's actually much more clear, the colors, and that's okay because that's how close you might zoom in your story map. So looking at this, I can see that indeed Parkdale, South Park, South Parkdale down here has a much higher population density than over here in the neighborhood I lived. And so it could just be because there's more people in the neighborhood, there's more occurrences of breaking and entries, right? Not necessarily that there's a badder group of people, right? That could be one conclusion I make, okay? So this here again is how you add layers to a map. We'll do it one last time. If you don't need another reminder, you can stop the video. If you'd like me to go through it one more time, you're adding a layer. You search for anything you want. Let's say it's Toronto cyclists, cycling accidents, because that's what you're interested in. Here's an example of cycling accidents. If I want to know what it means, it shows the location in which bike accidents have occurred. Okay, so this is specific. I want to add this. I add it to the map. And we can see here that this one does not have a lot of data points in my area. All right, I'm a little bit suspicious of this layer. I might be looking for something else that's Toronto cycling because I don't think that's accurate. Ooh, Toronto bikeways. Why not add this for fun? Let's see where there's the most bike paths in Toronto. Interesting. So actually my ward has quite a lot of bike routes, doesn't it? So anyway, you can get the idea of adding layers, playing around with it, changing the transparency. You can do anything you want. Just make sure you usually include the word Toronto. Income, for example, right? This one's a really good one. Toronto average household income is helpful. And if you want to make separate maps for different layers, you can do that as well so that everything's really clear. Depends on what you want to do with your story map.